Hey, welcome everybody to your Nooner with me, Dave LaMont, on this Friday, August 12th, one day before my wife's birthday, and I'm giving her the ultimate present. I'm leaving town in the morning, so she'll have a great weekend. Um, I could sit here and talk to you about more Tua stuff and opinions about the video and the throws. I will say that people around South Florida are excited. They're packed at the training camp. They're not even letting people in now. They've got so many. What do they say? What's the old Yogi Bear expression? Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. We could do that. We could talk about why is Tom Brady taking some time off in the middle of training camp for personal reasons. But you know what? They're personal reasons. Not like Tom called me. So we're not going to do that. We're in this kind of weird lull period with baseball where, some teams like the Orioles contending for the wild card. The Yankees seem to be having some problems, but they have about a 99 game lead. So it doesn't matter. You've got the intrigue in the West with San Diego making all these moves, and what happens? They get swept in their first series by the Dodgers, who are probably the best team in baseball this year. Will they prove it? I don't know. But I thought today, there's so much. There's intrigue in the NBA. We have two cats fighting behind me. I don't know if you can hear that. But we have the intrigue with what the Lakers are going to do because the country, or at least the media, seems to be obsessed with them. And congratulations to the NBA for retiring Bill Russell's number going forward. Anybody who's wearing 6 now can keep it. I would expect some guys will turn it in and exchange numbers. But if any future NBA players cannot wear the number 6, this is a very smart idea. Now, I want to talk about what's really, really important. And that would be whether or not the statement by Kim Wexler on Better Call Saul will finally end Saul Goodman's time on the run as Gene Takovic, or now has been ID'd as Saul Goodman by the very clever Carol Burnett, by Marion. That's what's important. Finally got around to seeing the episode. Due to travel and other concerns and things, I don't cheat on my wife in any regard, but I don't do that in television regard. I was in a position to watch the show as it happened on. We could have done it Monday, and the week before I waited like 3 or 4 days. Didn't do it. Waited till we were both, able to watch it together, and then we watched it Thursday night, last night, and it was, of course, spectacular. And to see the timeline shifting all the time doesn't bother me. I know it freaks some people out, but it's pretty easy to understand. Black and white is the future, and anything in color is the past. So the scene where she signs the papers, spoiler alert, is Albuquerque, and Omaha, for some reason, is black and white. Not for some reason. To me, it's an easy way to let you know where the timeline is. We are now in the post-Breaking Bad world, because as mentioned on the show, in that phone call, Lalo's dead. I think he's dead. Howard, Mike. So that means Mike's dead. So we've gone through Breaking Bad. Mike died at the end of Breaking Bad. Again, sorry, show's about 6 years old now. So the issue is, now that she's flipped essentially and turned herself in for her role in Howard's murder, and the setting up of Howard and the way he was treated, which was essentially her idea. And now that Gene/Saul overplayed his hand by going after the cancer guy's house and nearly having to attack him and stealing stuff, and he can't let that poor cab driver, the son of Marion, Carol Burnett, rot for his sins, or will he? So now Gene is, I don't know where they're going to go with this. And it's going to be fun to speculate it, because are we finished with Kim? Was that our last Kim sighting? Or are we going to get a sighting of her at the end of the show? I didn't think they would kill her off. And if there was ever going to be a moment where she was going to be killed, it would have been with Lalo after he blew away Howard. But he needed both of them. And if he kills Kim, then he has to kill Saul, because Saul couldn't possibly be his lawyer anymore if Lalo murders his wife. He's going to know too much, and he's going to turn him in. And he goes back on the run. It does sound like in the preview that Saul has contacted the vacuum cleaner again. Now, unfortunately, the real actor who played the vacuum, Robert Foster, has passed away. So I don't think they're going to have a substitute cleaner for him. But it sounds like he's made the call. He needs out again. So will he escape in a fourth identity, or will they catch him? And that's where we are. That's the suspense here. What is Saul Goodman's end coming to? Does he get away? Does he get in jail? Does he die? I don't know if they do that. I think there'd be a huge out. Now, they killed off Walter White, but Walter White was dying anyway. If you remember, his cancer had come back. He wasn't going to beat it. So when he died at the end of Breaking Bad, sorry if you haven't seen it yet, show's been out since 2010. That made sense. It did. But Saul Goodman dying, it could happen. Somebody could get him. He could, die by police firing squad, although I don't see him as a violent end kind of guy, packing guns everywhere, wherever he lives. Doesn't strike me as that. Never seen him fire a weapon or even own a weapon. I don't think he's even held a weapon. But he's a desperate guy, and he's on the run. So does he get a new identity and disappear? Does he get caught? Does he die? Will we see Kim? What happens, if anything, with Carol Burnett's character? You just don't hire Carol Burnett, as big a legend as there is in the history of television. And if you don't know much about her, if you're younger, you should look into her career and what she has meant to television, especially comedy. But here she is in a serious role. She'll be back. But she's done her damage by hitting the Med Alert bracelet and turning Saul in. So he's trapped, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how he gets out of it. It was jarring to see this different Kim Wexler. It was jarring for her to walk into the courthouse ready to confess to the DA, which was interesting. They didn't show us that. And seeing a young attorney with a ponytail helping a client who needs help, getting him properly dressed, fixing his tie and all that, giving him advice, a down on his luck type that Kim specialized and loved working with when she was a lawyer. That was a cool shot. I actually, in a way, think it was a good idea not to show the confession. That could have drawn out a little bit. We don't know if Kim's even going to go to jail. She didn't kill Howard. So I don't know the law. I don't know the law that well as to whether she would be eligible to wind up in a slammer or not. But there's that intrigue. We pretty much now know that I would be very surprised if we went backwards anymore. It might happen. They might have something up their sleeve. But I think we're done with Walter White. I think we're done with Jesse. The little scene outside Saul's office was a cute way to bring Aaron Paul back and kind of close the lid on the Kim and Saul relationship once and for all as she signs the papers and heads off into the rainy night. But boy, does her life look miserable. I mean, I know living in Florida has its drawbacks, but yikes. Garnet and Gold attempt at deviled eggs. First off, deviled eggs are horrifying. I know some of y'all like them. I don't know how you could put a deviled egg in your mouth. The white part alone, I would gag. And then taking whipped whatever, whether you use Duke's mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, I don't get it. And I know people love them. I understand this is my hang up, but I can hardly imagine a grosser food to put in your mouth. It's just disgusting, beyond belief to me. If you're having deviled eggs for lunch, knock yourself out. Have a dozen for me, because I ain't touching them. So you've got, her life looks like it really blows. It's sort of a dead-end job. Titusville, if you don't know, is the Space Coast of Florida, though they're not far from the Cape, Cape Kennedy or Cape Canaveral, whatever they're calling it these days. And beaches are nice, I hear. Don't get up to the Space Coast. Cocoa is up there. There's some beachy towns. Doesn't look like that she's living on the beach. So her life is her, and it's not even she scrubbed herself that we know of. She just split. And, has kind of a dumpy boyfriend and, who's not worthy of her and does plain puzzles and, meh. So it's not a great life. So it got to her. She finally is beginning to turn around into the Kim Wexler we remember, who did have a streak of honesty about her that went away when she married Jimmy/Saul, and he went full Saul on her. And she got her revenge on Howard that went way too far. And there you have it. And the Howard thing was as much involving him as it was her. But still, she paid an emotional price for it, which we saw on the car rental ride as she was leaving Albuquerque. So there's so many unanswered questions, but the biggest one is what happens to Saul? I don't think they'll kill him. I don't think they should kill him. I don't think that makes any sense. He wasn't the guy to die a violent ending, even though he was directly or indirectly responsible for other people dying violent endings. Does he end up in jail? Does he get out again to scam in the future? Now that he's been outed, because the feds have been looking for Saul Goodman, and they can find Saul Goodman because he's Gene Takovic. When you go back to that, what's turning out to be incredibly unfortunate for him, sighting in the mall when he is forced to say, "Better call Saul" by the cab driver. And the way that was all weaved, it's so brilliantly done that every scene seems to matter, and so many things are callbacks. So you've got to be paying attention. And that you knew that black and white scene of him being forced to say "Better call Saul" was going to come back. I think that was season 4, right? Or 5. And you knew that was going to be a problem down the road for this Cinnabon manager. And it's now become a massive problem because he overextended his criminality. And why he would even, well, I think I know why. Having his life change like that, the Cinnabon thing is boring. His life was boring. And he, without Kim, without her guidance, because, although who knows, if they had stayed together, who knows what they could have accomplished together in a criminal sense. I think they both would have had to leave Albuquerque. They both probably would have had to scrub their identities. But she's still going by Kim Wexler, so she did not call the cleaner. I thought she had. When I heard that she was working at this water place, I thought, okay, she called the cleaner and she got scrubbed, and she's, Regina Applebaum or something, and some name that's not Kim Wexler, but she's still Kim Wexler. Interesting. So I can't wait for Monday, except I won't be home late. I mean, until late on Monday. I mean, late. Really strange travel plans coming home. So we're going to have to wait until later in the week to have a finale, and maybe we'll talk about it on Friday. Where am I going to be this weekend, you ask? And that was very nice of you to ask. Back in the world of the PBA, another super regional coming up at the very unique Playmore Lanes in Coldwater, Ohio. That's a small town outside of Dayton. That's where I'm flying into. And was there once. It's a really cool center. It's a very much a part of the local Coldwater community. The high school team bowls there. There's all sorts of leagues. They've been a little quiet on social media lately. They used to tweet a lot more than they do, which is a bummer. But maybe they'll get involved in it when $2 Phil Brilo and I show up for the commentary. But it's a super regional. It's a huge field. It's a field so big that they have to do 3 squads, A, B, and C, not just an A-B squad like we did in Jonesboro, Arkansas last week. So it'll be once again for free on the PBA YouTube channel. And 5 o'clock Eastern time will be the stepladder final. And another $10,000 prize, which for a regional is a nice first place check, to say the least. Matt Russo won last week. He was the Rookie of the Year from 2021. Utterly dominant. He just destroyed everybody. And he And this is no match play. This is just volume, volume, volume. And he volumed his way to the number 1 seed and then beat the great E.J. Tackett in the final. That's 2 times now he's gone to Jonesboro in back-to-back years and won the event there. They had a national title there in 2021, now a regional title in 2022. So I don't think Matt is going to be in Ohio, however. So and again, it's a regional. So sometimes you get players who are willing to travel all over and do it. Like Tom Doherty is a Floridian. Tom will be at the event. Tackett, but EJ and Zach, his brother, are Indianans. So going to Ohio is not a stretch. But there's some new names and a couple of guys who aren't, like Wes Malott will be in this tournament, the Big Nasty, and a former king of the lane. So you've got a good field. And so hopefully you get to watch. The stepladder is the only thing that will be televised. This is it's free. You can go to the PBA YouTube and subscribe. You can go to my YouTube and subscribe. And eventually, as soon as I figure this out, I'll have a new look for all this stuff right here. My friends at Sports Objective have sent me some new, what they call overlays. And I'm going to download those and try to remember how in the hell I did this in the first place. But so I'm looking forward to that new look that's coming. Maybe by next week should be fine. Again, so Monday will be no show more than likely. But we'll see. We'll see. And then back to business this next week of Friday for sure. Thanks for watching. There wasn't any big sports stuff to talk about. Cam Smith's going to go to LIV. Okay, we kind of knew that 2 weeks ago. Now, the LIV lawsuit with the PGA, that's interesting. But I did say that I was going to limit the LIV golf talk because I was tired of it. And frankly, it's wearing me down as a golf fan. I've pretty much had enough. So we're going to put that aside for now. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. PBA YouTube Sunday at 5. And you too may get